Imagine, if you will, the following scenario. The world has gone south. There's no internet. There's no cell phones. There's no power. And all the repeaters are down. What are you going to do next? Find out right here, right now, on Ham Radio for Non-Techies.
Well, as you can probably guess, we're going to be talking about using your ham radio off-grid from my overly dramatic intro. So, what are we going to do in a situation where things have gone south, there's no internet, assuming there's no phones, no cell service, there's no power, and let's just throw in, just for the sake of argument, the repeaters are down. How are you going to communicate? How are you going to find out what's going on in the world around you? How are you going to get messages to and from people, or communicate with people in your community or around to find out information? That's what I want to cover today. And there's a lot of considerations. Keep in mind that with all of this, I want you to do your own research. I'm going to give you suggestions based on what I think of when I go into survivalist mode. So keep these in consideration, but do your own research on this stuff and really figure out what's going to work for you, what's going to work for your budget, and what you're going to need. So with that, we'll head over to the desktop and start the show, because it's going to be a pretty long one. All right, so we are doing Prepper Radio, going off grid with your radio. What's the first thing we want to discuss here? Get this over here, it needs to be. All right, things you need to consider. Again, assuming no phones, no power, no internet, and all the repeaters are down. Budget. What is your budget going to be? You need to have a budget. Know what you want to spend. Know what you're capable of saving up for, and choose your equipment based on those numbers. Know what you're expecting to spend on it. Going off grid is a little bit more expensive because you don't have the luxury of just buying a power supply and plugging it in. You need to be like, if you're out in the woods, you can't plug your radio into a tree, right? So what are you going to use for power? Keep these things in mind. How can you save enough to get what you want to get? Find ways of being frugal. Cut back on a couple of things. Find things to sell. Whatever. We'll cover that in a minute. What bands do you want to be able to communicate on? VHF and UHF, or VHF, UHF, and HF? Again, this only you know what you want to work with. Antennas. Are you going to buy or make your own, and which ones? If you buy antennas, it's kind of a, simple solution. You buy an antenna, might have a simple tuner. You can tune up on HF bands and be ready to roll. Most of your VHF, UHF will not need a tuner. It's plug and play for the most part. What are your power choices? So are you going to be powering off of generators? You're going to be powering off of solar, off of batteries? What are you going to do? We'll cover that as well. What about recharging your devices? You're going to be powering these things with something. They're not going to hold power forever. Again, you can't plug it into a squirrel's rear end or a tree. So how are you going to recharge your devices? You can keep things moving forward. What's going to be the simplest way to do that? There are other equipment considerations you need to think about. And what type of radio you're considering to get. Are you going to stick with just HTs? You do maybe a combo of HT and mobile, or maybe do mobile and base, or HT and base. Again, you have to figure out what your needs dictate. Shelter choices. You're going to be out in the woods. You're going to need some kind of shelter, something to waterproof everything, keep you dry, keep your equipment dry. You're going to be working on a table or working on the ground. So these are things we're going to talk about. So let's discuss. Budget. Depending on your needs, you'll need to define budget to build your kit. Have a number in mind by doing the research. And like I said, I'll give you equipment choices here that I think are relevant, that I think are quality, but you really need to decide on your own what you're going to do. Don't go too cheap, as this will be used as a way to communicate in a crisis, and it's better to hold off and get what you want than buy a bunch of stuff sporadically. Don't just go off and start buying stuff because you think you can get it now because it's in your budget now. If there's something else better you want, save up for that. Have the better quality equipment. Of course, like I said here on the next one here, the more you spend on quality equipment, the better. You don't want, and I'm not ripping on the lower end radios, but I am. If you have a radio that's fragile or can break easily, or just have problems with it, if that breaks and we're in this scenario that we've set up for ourselves in this show, what are you going to do? You can't go to the store It's hard enough now to buy radios because of the semiconductor fire that happened last year. So it's really hard enough to get radios now, and there's not even a crisis going on. So what do you do if you're out in the woods and things have really gone to hell and something breaks? You're screwed, right? Do you have any marketable products or services to raise money fast? Do you have anything you can sell? Or do you build anything you can turn around and sell and make some extra bucks? Or do you have things around your house you can sell? Things been sitting around for 6 months, you haven't touched it? Get rid of it. Turn that into cash. Put that cash in your budget. Go buy the equipment you want. Again, think about these things. This is not something you're just going to go through in 5 seconds to figure out. You need to really sit down with a pad and paper, write your needs, write your scenarios out, figure out what you think you're going to need, what you want, and what you can afford. Moving on. What bands are you wanting to use for off-grid? Again, we're discussing, you want to just do VHF, UHF? Do you want to do HF, or do you want to do all three? With VHF, UHF, handy talkies would be the cheapest option, but it is the most limiting, and you may need a longer antenna or wire, some way to modify that to add another antenna on there to reach out to longer distances by having a longer length or higher antenna, and you're limited on your distances. HF, however, does not have that issue because you're not dealing with line of sight. You're bouncing stuff off the ionosphere. So mobile radios and base station radios, a little more expensive of an option, somewhat limited due to lack of not having VHF, UHF if you want to reach local people, if you're just going HF only, but you have a lot more antenna options. And there's plenty of antennas out there. You can either build on your own or just purchase ready-made stuff. Or you go all three, which will kind of put you at mobile and base radios. This will be probably the most expensive. And you got to consider the size of a base station before you're going to be lugging it around in your pack or however you plan on transporting stuff if you're leaving your home and going out off into the woods or something like that. So keep size consideration and weights as a forethought in the back of your mind. Make sure you have access to everything. You will need multiple antennas with the all three thing because most of your base stations have 2 antenna ports in the back, one for HF and one for VHF, UHF. So you have, more equipment necessary for that. Keep that in mind. Antenna choices. Now, are you planning on saving money and making your own antennas, or do you want to buy antennas just have a ready to go solution? I'm on the fence about that. I mean, there's plenty of killer videos out there. I've even done one. I got a couple more coming out on building your own antennas, and it is definitely cheaper. It's a little more work. You got a little more research involved in it and a little bit of skill of building them. Not impossible. There's tons of hams out there that do that. Ready to go solutions are great because you can just buy them, throw them in your pack, and ready to go. I just picked up a Pac-10 Mini 9-to-1, and the thing's only like that big, really small, much smaller than I thought it was. And that'll be a great little antenna to use. I can throw in my back pocket and hook it up to one of my radios and be ready to go. So with antennas, are you using dipoles, verticals, ground planes, etc.? You got to figure out what you're going to need. Have a selection of different antennas. They don't take up a whole lot of space if you shop around and research everything. Have more than one quality coax cable, and I stress quality. Don't be buying your coax off the back of a truck on the highway or something. Go get some good coax cable. Again, this is survival. I take this up like I'd say if you're buying a firearm, you don't go buy the cheapest $99 piece of junk and trust your life with it, right? Go spend the money on the quality stuff and be happier that you have quality, reliable equipment. A few all-in-one solutions for VHF, UHF. I have the Diamond X30A, which is a great little antenna. I got it on my 991. It is 54 inches tall, and you can go for the X50A, which is 66 inches tall. Both are great for VHF, UHF, plug and play, ready to go, no tuning necessary, and they both run under $100 each. Sorry about that. HF, all-in-one. You want something that's rugged, that does all the meters, 160 down to 6. The Chameleon modular portable antenna system 2.0 or MPAS 2.0 is expensive. It's $550, but it comes with everything you need, backpack, everything's ready to roll. However, Chameleon is back ordered right now, and it's you get yourself about a month after you order it. And I guess they got a high demand for their stuff, whatever. I'm still waiting on mine. I've been waiting a month and a half for mine. It'll be here any day. It'll be here any day. I can't wait for it to show up so I can use a damn thing. Okay. Pactena. Like I said, I got the Pactena. And, you know, for HF, small, affordable, easy to deploy, and reliable for many situations. Let me go grab that real quick. Give me 1 second. Not that I'm going to make this a product review for Pactena today, but this is it. That's the whole antenna. I added a BNC to PL259 adapter on there, but that's the whole antenna. You unwind the wire, plug this in your radio, run it through a tuner, and you're on the air. I think they run about $89 when they're in stock. Now, Pactena, because they have such great following of people that love their stuff, a lot of times these things get back ordered, but they seem to keep up with this stuff pretty quick. So if you do see it, it's something you want, grab it. Don't think about it. Just grab it and have it. I mean, you can literally put this in your back pocket or in a shirt pocket and carry it around with you. It's not, there's no weight to it. It's not really overly large. Of course, building an antenna is a lot cheaper, and you can make them for specific channels. If you know specific channels you want to get out on, you can build a simple dipole or a simple random wire antenna for those channels, and then use your tuner to tune it up and be ready to roll. Okay. So if we're going to go with the HT radio scenario, in most cases, these are going to be restricted to VHF, UHF. I know there's some tri-band radios out there. I'm not going into all that other stuff right now. I'm trying to assume that we're sticking with the scenario that I set up at the beginning of this. So a good radio, to start off with, a quality good radio, is the Wouxun UV8D Plus. I've talked about this before in my HT reviews. Actually, I talked about all three of these in my HT reviews. At the time of this recording, it is $109.99. You can get that from buytwowayradios.com. It does VHF, UHF, and comes with a 2600 milliamp hour battery. Extra batteries for this, you got to consider this. If you're going to be out there, you want to have extra batteries. You know, these radios, you can keep them on for days before they're going to run out of battery. But if you start transmitting, that obviously uses more power, so that'll suck the power out of them. So have extra batteries. The extra batteries for these are relatively cheap. I think they're about $29 a pop. The radio itself is rugged, FCC compliant, 999 memory channels. It does have an SMA antenna connection, and it does have FM radio reaching 76 to 108 megahertz built in, so you can program that to go to your favorite channels if the radio stations are even around. It does have an SOS function, and it has a built-in flashlight. I wouldn't rely on that flashlight so much. It's actually just little tiny. It's a little tiny LED. So not really the greatest of flashlights, but if you need some light, it's better than nothing. Again, buy it from twowayradios.com. Now, with these radios, I do suggest upgrading to a diamond antenna. I picked out the RH77CA. And I picked up a BNC to estimate a BNC adapter. So I just click it on there and be done with it. So that's a good solution. The next couple ones here have a lot more functions that fall outside of the realm of what we're talking about with end of the world type scenarios or off-grid end of the world scenarios. So a better solution will be the Anytone D878 UV2 Plus. And that is now, at the time of this recording, is $299. It does come with a bunch of options, a bunch of little things that they package in. Bridgecom Systems sells these, and I've said this before, they really want people's business. So they pack a whole bunch of stuff in, including an entire university of how to use your radios that comes with your purchase. So $299.99. These come with a 3100 milliamp hour battery, and they do VHF, UHF, and DMR. Now, again, if internet's down, DMR's useless. So VHF, UHF would be your thing, but these are also great radios. Extra batteries for these are also cheap. However, when I checked the site earlier, they were out of stock. They are rugged and FCC compliant. They come with 4,000 memory channels, 500,000 digital contacts, and they have 4 power levels going from 6 watts down to 1 watt. IP54 dust and water resistant, so you can, splash it or something like that. It's not going to hurt it. I wouldn't dunk it in a bucket. And it says you get up to 35 hours of usage on a single charge. And I'm assuming that's probably more of receiving than actually transmitting. Again, transmitting uses a whole lot more power. You can go over to bridgecomsystems.com and check that one out. The next one is one of my favorites, and that is the Yaesu FT3DR. At the time of this recording, it is $389.95, and I checked a couple places out online before I did this. At the time of this recording, they are in stock. So if you're looking to get one, you're on the market for it, it's something you want to go with the absolute best, grab it. Just do it now. Don't think about it. VHF, UHF, and APRS. It does come with a 2200 milliamp hour battery. However, extra batteries for this are about 80 bucks. So it's most expensive for batteries on this, and they're all going to be 2200 milliamp. Again, rugged FCC compliant. It is a 5-watt max output. It is IPX5 water protection. So I guess you can probably, I haven't looked up what the IPX5 versus IP54, I haven't really looked up what these all mean. So look those up and see. But again, you're not going to be diving with the damn thing, right? 1256 memory channels, color touchscreen. It is relatively easy to program and use. Once you get used to that touchscreen and kind of learn your way around it, it'll be easy for you to navigate and program, and you set it up for your uses. Ham radio outlet does have these on sale, as do a couple other places. I think Gigaparts might have them. RNL has them. Oh God, who is it else? DX Engineering, I think, might carry them. So look around, find who's got the best deal. I threw up hamradio.com on there because I shop a lot there, but find the person who's got the best deal. Not everybody, their prices are not all equal here. Again, with this one, I do suggest the Diamond RH77CA antenna and an estimated BNC adapter, just to have that little nice upgrade. So if you have other antennas out there that are BNC, pop it on there, and you're done deal. So let's move on. Mobile radio choices. I had a tough one with this because I'm sure I'm going to get people giving me stuff in the commenting on this and say, why didn't you do this one? I picked out these for specific reasons. The first one here is the Yaesu FT891, $609.95, HF plus 50 megahertz, 100 watts of output power, and it goes from 5 to 100 watts, 99 memory channels, detachable faceplate. Somebody can correct me on this. I think the screen, I could not find specs on the screen, but I think it's 1 inch by 3 inches for the screen, and has one single HF connector for your antenna on the back. Reason I chose this one, it is a very reliable radio. It is small, easy, and compact. You can fit it into a Go box, which I will be doing a show on that at some point in the future, as soon as I can get my 891 shipped. You're able to put it in a Go box along with your other accessories, all ready to go. One handle, grab it, and get out the door. My next solution, and this is, I had an argument with one of our other, not an argument, a light discussion. We'll call it a light discussion with another YouTuber out there, another very well-respected YouTuber. And he was suggesting, the ICOM IC7100. And, for me, I've already got a mobile radio in my truck that I will most likely, if I'm bugging out or getting out of the way, provided EMP hasn't taken out everything, I'll use my mobile radio in my truck, which has VHF, UHF, and APRS, because I have the 400 XDR. But say you don't have that. Say you're just looking for an all-in-one solution. You want to have all the bands and plus a couple other things. The ICOM IC7100 for $899.95 does HF, VHF, UHF, and D-Star. 100 watts of output power on HF and 50 megahertz, 50 watts on 144 megahertz, and 35 watts on 430 and 440 megahertz. It comes with 505 memory channels. It has a 2-component setup, a 2x3 inch touchscreen, and 2 antenna connections, again, because you have different antennas for different things. You have antenna connectors for your HF channels and one for your VHF, UHF. This is also a very portable, all-in-one solution. A lot of people use it. A lot of people like them. My issue is because I have a VHF, UHF radio in my truck that I can yank out if I want to and put into my pack. That's why I'm choosing the FT891 that just does HF. So now I have 2 different radios for everything, but I have the antennas already for the other one. It's already ready to go. But if I did not have that in my truck, then I would probably consider this one for $899.95. Again, these are also out of stock right now. You're on a waiting list. I think they're supposed to, I think if I remember correct, supposed to ship out around June 4th. So if you order one now, you'll get on that list, and when they get them, they'll ship one right out to you. The last one here is the Xiegu G90. A lot of guys in the channels use these. I've heard nothing but good reviews on them. $449 right now. HF from 0.5 to 30 megahertz. Here's the only drawback. 20 watt output. All these other radios do 100 watt output max. This one's maxed out at 20 watts. 64 memory channels, detachable faceplate, and 1.8 inch screen with a single HF connection for your antennas. I can't say enough good things about this radio based on the reviews that I've read and what other people I've watched a lot of videos from the other YouTubers out there that do ham radio channels, and a lot of them have this. And a lot of them have high praise this radio. It seems to be really good. It seems to be reliable. No reason why, if if one of these other options is still too expensive for you, you don't think you can achieve those amounts to get those, plus all the accessories, this would probably be a good solution for you. So keep that in mind. Again, do your research. My word is not law here. I'm just giving you research based on what I think would be the best scenario, or the best type of equipment for the scenario that we've created here. Base stations for off-grid comms. Now we get into the big radios, and this is where you start thinking about weight and size and how inconvenient it's going to be to lug it up somewhere or drag it out with you, whatever. But you get a lot of options. I try to bring you guys a couple different options here. Obviously, the Yaesu 991A is an all literal shack in a box. At the time of this recording, it is $1129.95. But it does do HF, VHF, UHF, C4FM wires, the whole shebang. 100 watt output, goes from 5 watts to 100 watts. A 3.5 inch color touchscreen, and the dimensions are 9 inches by 3 inches by about 9 inches. Weighs just under 10 pounds. It does have a built-in tuner, although it is limited, so you will need to also pick up an extra tuner, which we'll go over that shortly. 99 memory channels, and it does have dual antenna connections, one for HF and one for VHF, UHF. I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. I have this radio. I use it every day on my local ham radio net. And I'm still learning a lot of things about it. It's got a lot of features I have not figured out yet, and I'm just kind of going through it and doing my thing. It's a smaller radio, so, it's still... I still think it's kind of big, kind of a different kind of setup to set this thing up. But if you want something that's all-in-one solution, this is probably it. You just have to make sure you have, weatherproof conditions to use it in. The next one is the ICOM IC7300. A lot of people enjoy this radio. I hear nothing but good things about it. It is $999.95, and it does HF plus 50 megahertz. The 100 watt output goes from 2 watts to 100 watts. This comes with a little bit larger, a 4.3 inch color touchscreen. And it is it's a little bit bigger than the, well, no, it's about the same size. Yeah, it's about the same size as the 991 and 0.2 pounds lighter. Built-in tuner, again, you'll want to have another external tuner. 101 memory channels, SD slot for saving data, and a single HF connection for your antenna in the back. Now, keep in mind, one is a shack in the box, does everything, all your bands, and one just does HF. But both are good choices. You need to figure out what you need, what's going to work best for your situation. That brings us now to antenna tuners. So I have two here, and I had a third option here, but I just don't have enough knowledge yet to really suggest MFJ tuners, but we'll get to that in a second. My first choice here, a little bit cheap, cheapest of the choices, is the LDG AT100 Pro 2. Currently it is $209.95. It does up to 100 watts and goes and spans from 1.8 to 54 megahertz. Nothing wrong with this. I ended up picking up the second one here, the LDG AT200 Pro, because I wanted something I could grow into down the road. So again, I'm not thinking entirely about if I was just off grid, what would I use? Because you're kind of stuck with whatever you got. So if you're only going to buy a 100 watt radio and you want to get the cheaper one and save the $30. I'd say go with the AT100. If not, spend the extra $30. Go with the AT200. That way you got something you can grow into. It goes from 5 to 250 watts, 1.8 to 54 megahertz, and will match a 10 to 1 SWR down to 1.5 to 1 SWR. I chose this because of the reliability. I asked a lot of people around in the community, what's a good tuner? I need something that's simple, easy to use, reliable. Everybody came back with the AT100 or the AT200. I spent the extra $30, got the 200, couldn't be happier. Which now brings us to MFJ tuners. A lot of these seem to be brand specific. I was trying to find something small and portable that would be good to use. And apparently with MFJ, they have an MFJ antenna tuner for ICOM. They have one for Yaesu. They have one for, this. They have one for every different type of radio out there. So you guys leave that down in the comments. Did I miss something here? Am I not reading something right? If you can think of some MFJ tuners, put them down in the comments, or go hit up the Ham Radio for Non-Techies Facebook group and discuss it there. I'd love to see what you guys have to say about that. Again, I want two-way communication between us here, so we can, kind of figure stuff out and help each other. So definitely want an antenna tuner. Don't forget, you're going to need a little cable to go from your tuner into your radio, and have another cable from your radio out to your antenna. Okay. How will you power your radio? Again, you're not going to plug this into a tree or find some wilderness animal to, into. So if you're going solely HT, you want to buy some additional large batteries. Have those on hand. Have some way to charge them. If you're using mobile or base radios, you'll need batteries, chargers, and regulators. Or if you're going to end up going the generator route, then you have to go find a decent generator that produces some sort of clean energy, or put some kind of a filter so it gives you clean energy. But the problem I see with generators is they're loud, and depending upon your situational awareness and how much operational security you want, you may not want something loud and banging in the background and grinding out like an engine. So there are quieter ones out there, but when you get a quieter generator, the price goes up. So keep that in mind. You might need some extra cabling to get it as far away from you as possible, so it's not interfering with your broadcast or with your transmission, stuff like that. Next thing would be solar panels. I'm going to recommend 100-watt solar panels. And the one you see here in the image here is 10 pounds. It's folded as 20 inches by 14 by 1, and runs about $210. It's not a cheap solution, but it is a reliable solution. A 12 amp hour battery or larger, depending on your usage and what you're willing to carry. I want you to assume that you'll be doing 20% of your time will be transmitting and 80% of your time receiving. The battery you see here is 3.3 pounds. It is 4.4 inches by 4.3 inches by 3 inches, and runs $139 right now with a charger. So if you don't want to do the solar thing, because we're not in a crisis, you can just plug it in your wall and charge it up. Power regulator for your solar panel and cables. So for $49, you can get this solar panel this power regulator. It is 6.5 inches by 3.4 inches by 1.5 inches, weighs half a pound. So these three things together will work with each other and help give you power, help you to recharge. One gives you power, one helps recharge your power you're using, and you want to regulate to make sure you're not doing anything stupid and blowing up your equipment. Again, generators, not generally clean power. You may need a brute force filter, and that will be a much more expensive option for you. Plus, they're loud. Now, if maybe you have an RV. If you have an RV, then this is all moot. You can just plug into your RV. Your RV's got a generator, so on and so forth. But everybody's got a different situation. I'm trying to accommodate as many different scenarios as I can to make sure you guys get some good info here. Now, BioEnnoPower are the people who put out all these products. They are absolutely, I think they're like kind of the unknown leaders. Their batteries are extremely reliable. You'll have them for years and years and years. They're not going to discharge, or they're not going to deep six themselves on you as quickly as some of the cheaper solutions. You will pay more in the beginning, but you're going to get a lot more quality and a lot more life out of the usage of their batteries and other equipment that they carry. So I highly suggest that. They carry a full line of batteries, solar panels, and regulators. And they make stuff for ham radio operators to use out in the field. And a lot of guys that do field day, a lot of guys do off-grid comms. If you watch their videos, they have a little blue battery in the background. These are the guys that do that as Bio-NO power. So keep that in consideration. These are going to be your best bets. I mean, you can go out. There's other stuff. You can go on Amazon and find some other items out there. But I think this will serve you a lot better. All right, let's move on. Last but not least, I think we're at the end of our slides, guys. Consider a dedicated shortwave radio like the Sea Crane Skywave single sideband radio. And I just got mine last night. And this is, got upside down. This little radio here, little tiny thing. It's got a lot of stuff packed in. It has an extra antenna extension in there that you can use to extend out your range. And it just receives, no transmitter. It's the little shortwave radio, but that would help you. And I thought about this, if you have your radio out there, your ham radio, and you're keeping it on all the time, where you're using up all that power, if you're not transmitting or getting active information, why waste the power on a big radio? And you grab one of these things, runs on 2 AA batteries. You can grab a pack of AA's from Home Depot, get like a 36 pack for $15. Add those in your pack. That way you have power for this thing. You can tune into all the HF, all the shortwave bands and listen for information. It does also include NOAA weather alerts. It has, just all kinds of things. It picks air bands, whole bunch of stuff. I'll have links in the description for these all these items we've been talking about. We touched on adapters, extra coax, extra wire, and cables. Do not underprepare and then be off-grid saying, I wish I thought about buying more, ... Get these things now. Look at your equipment. Once you have your equipment set up, ready to go, look at what you might need extra of. Do you need extra coax cable? Relatively cheap, have some extra coax cable. Do you need extra adapters? What if an adapter breaks? What if something gets lost? Do you have extra adapters in your pack? A little tiny dedicated bag for just adapters. You can never have enough adapters. Shelters. Are you going to use your radio by placing it on the ground or on a rock? Probably not. So consider a shelter, i.e. a pop-up tent or a camping tent. Something to protect you in. Let's see. Tables. $39 buys you a nice foldable portable 4-foot table from Home Depot or Walmart. Easily pick up, throw it in, put it in a tent. You're not sitting on the ground. You can use your equipment up on that. And also, protect your equipment. As I said before, you're spending a lot of money on this stuff. Water's not your friend. So protect your equipment. Have coax tape to wrap your coax connections in case you're leaving your antenna outside. That way water doesn't get into the coax and screw it all up. And having spare tarps, not a bad idea for waterproofing your shelter. I mean, tents are water resistant, but, unless you're spending a lot of money, you're not going to get a waterproof tent. So, a couple cheap tarps or even that plastic sheeting you get for a couple bucks at Home Depot they use for painting. Throw that over, nail it into the ground, protect yourself. I try to think of everything on here. Again, if you guys have some solutions, you let me know what you think. But we have reached the end of that presentation. So with that, we'll go back to my Wayne cam. So did I miss anything? Are there things you wish I'd put into this this presentation? I tried to cover it all. I'm pretty sure, even with the hours I spent researching and kind of scrutinizing what I would put in for you guys or suggest to you guys. I hope I covered a wide range of things and gave you some ideas to kind of spark some stuff in your mind. Again, if you can get stuff now, buy little bits at a time, build up your kit. No one expects you to go out and spend $2,000-$3,000 right this minute. So go and get what you can get. And with the shortage of radios right now, it's going to be a little more difficult. So I'd say your radio would probably be the first thing I would get that purchased if you're on a back order list. That way you're in there and that part is done. Then you can work on the other stuff while you're waiting for the radio to come in, whether that be buying more antennas, building antennas, gathering up all your other miscellaneous equipment, and having it all ready to go. Figure out how you're going to store the stuff. You can put it in a big backpack. You can put it in hard cases. What are you going to do? What's going to be easiest for you where if you had to leave your home, you had to go out and on a moment's notice, could you grab the stuff, throw it in the truck, and go? So you got to figure these things out and have a plan. Write down your plan. Talk with your family. Hey, have a family meeting. And hey, if this happens here and this scenario happens, we're gonna do this. It's your job to do this. It's your to make sure everybody knows what their job title is and what their responsibility is, to make sure everybody works together to shorten the amount of time it takes you to get your stuff together and get out. You know, maybe the situation will happen and it won't be, you know, end of the world zombie apocalypse, but maybe you just run out of, you know, power gets shut down from a big storm, cell towers go down, you know, just little things, but you're staying home. How are you going to deal with that? You know, generators at that point would probably be a good idea, but you still might want to run a cleaner power solution. So batteries are still going to be the best way to go. You know, you got to really just figure out what is going to work for you. So with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. If you like my video, please give me a thumbs up so that my video is shown in front of other people on YouTube that are interested in this type of topic. And if, as always, if you like this channel, please consider liking and subscribing and hitting the little bell to be notified when I put out new videos. For that, guys, again, if you have comments, put them down below. Links to everything we discussed here will be in the description below. And find the YouTube group, or the, sorry about that, find the Facebook group and join in the Facebook group, join in the chat, and let's discuss this stuff. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Put it down. I mean, no one's gonna give you crap about anything. If you say something, I promise, no one's gonna give you crap. They do, then I'll kick them out. Let's discuss this. You know, I'd like to see if I missed anything on here. You know, and I very well could have, but maybe I didn't. Anyway, you guys have a great day. I hope you guys take care. Get your budgets going, get your equipment set up, and I'll talk to you soon. This is Scott. My call sign is KI5NPL. I'm radio for Non-Techies. I'm clear.